Well, lordy, it's Monday once again, which means, of course, it's countdown day here on the channel, and today's topic was suggested to us by our buddy Dustin. And this one's for you, buddy. It is a bit of a dirty word in the collector community, that of knockoff, or KO. And this is the top 10 KO Transformers as voted on by fans all across social media. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, loud on my baby. Yeah, hit that notification bell, man. It helps me out a ton to let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring. Or of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And like I said, this is going to be a bit of a, I guess, controversial one for some people, because it's going to be the top 10 knockoffs, KOs of Transformers. It's kind of from any line. Now, I'm going to clarify a couple of things. There were a number of votes that had to be disqualified because people voted for third-party company offerings. And they said, well, that's a knockoff because they don't own that character. But there is a differentiation between a knockoff and third-party, even if it's unlicensed. And there's a differentiation between third-party and unlicensed third-party. A knockoff, and I'm kind of using a definition that was sort of developed a long time ago for this because I had to find a way to sort of structure this. A knockoff, for the purposes of this countdown, is going to be those items that are pretty much an exact copy. Sometimes it might be oversized, sometimes it might be undersized, and they may have changed one or two slight things. But basically, it is taking the engineering of this product and applying it to this product. Boom. The reason that like officially licensed or third party wouldn't count is because most often those offerings are original engineering, original designs. Very often they're given original names and even original fiction. And legally speaking, it would sometimes be difficult to kind of prove the correlation because the company that makes them could say it's our own design, it's our own engineering. Here's the fiction, here's the character's name. It just so happens to look like this other character. That's a coincidence. So it's a bit fiddly. But with a KO, like, it's obvious that this was this. Just the fact that you changed a ball peg to, I don't know, a mushroom peg? Just saying. Something as simple as that. Like, that's not enough to be changed to not call it a KO. So, I just wanted to be clear on what exactly we meant by KO, and I wanted to be clear why certain things were disqualified. If I wanted to do a top 10 of third-party offerings, then I would specifically do a top 10 of third-party offerings. And who knows, maybe we will at some point. So these are the KOs, the knockoffs. We're going to kick things off with our honorable mentions. And we do have, for example, the Jiang Age of Extinction Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. Now, I have reviewed that thing here on the channel. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's KO. It is significantly different from the Age of Extinction besides being oversized. Its transformation is significantly different, but it does borrow a lot of things, so that's why people voted for it. As well as the AOA mech, Dark Commander. He would be a KO because the AOA mech Dark Commander is basically a Nemesis Prime version, as I understand it, of the Studio Series 38 Bumblebee. I don't know if it's oversized or not, but like, it's taking that Bumblebee, or sorry, that Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, Studio Series 38 Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. Gosh, there's some long names. And painting it black, right? That's all that's really done. Great mold, but a KO. What else do we have here? KO Hulky. Taking DX9's Hulky, doing a KO of it. In fact, our good buddy Maximal10 gave me a knockoff version of that exact Devastator some time ago for the holidays. I reviewed it here on the channel. It's not the official, but it's pretty darn good. And I like this one. Again, I don't know if this is actually a KO. I think it's its own design, but it's the APC Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime, and a lot of people have said if you don't have the first edition Optimus Prime that this is the one to get. I don't know if it's a knockoff of that or if it's its own design that's in the spirit of that or what, because I'm not really familiar with it. But they're the honorable mentions. None of them made the list. So what did? Well, you know what we're going to do. We're going to start things off with number 10 first. Funny enough, coming in at number 10 is a version of a character that honestly I thought should have been the mainline official version all along, and it's this. That's right, it's the KBB downsized version of Combiner Wars Titan Class Devastator, except this time he's not a Titan, he scales with the rest of the Combiner Wars lads. I always thought he should have scaled with them anyway, and that the Constructicons should have all been deluxes. They weren't. And the only reason I didn't get it is because I had already invested the money. I had already bought years prior the official version, and I didn't see a need to double dip. But I'm not gonna lie, I never, even when I bought it, I never thought Devastator should have been a Titan. I never liked that size. It didn't make sense to me. Why would he be anywhere close to the size of Metroplex? And a lot of people said, yeah, but he was close in size to Omega Supreme. True, Omega Supreme is also not supposed to be a Titan. And if you don't believe me, go by the old Sunbow animation chart and you'll see the difference between those characters, say, and like Trypticon and Metroplex. Just saying. It's just that in the real world, in real world physics, we have to work with what we get, and what we get kind of makes the most sense possible, right? So the reason I accepted it for Devastator is because they were all huge industrial construction vehicles. But there was a part of me that always saw the merit to the smaller version indeed. So yeah, the KBB undersized Combiner Wars Devastator, one of the most popular as voted on by you guys, and he took the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9 takes us to kind of the masterpiece line, and this. That's right, it's the KO of MP13 Soundwave and his cassettes, who have some really kind of wonky, funny names. People say it's a great KO. People say it's as good, if not better, than the original. And in fact, some people say that he came with some extra add-on parts. At least some versions of him came with the extra add-on parts to actually make his, I guess his alt mode look like a complete box for a cassette player thing, right? For a radio thing, whatever it is he turns into. Cool. Yeah, I guess it's a cassette player. I mean, yeah, cool. I totally get it. I mean, when you have a KO that's as good, if not better, when you have a KO that's very difficult to distinguish from the original, then you've got a success on your hands. And enough fans felt that this guy was a success, bleh, I stumbled over my words there, that the KO of MP Soundwave was able to take the number 9 slot. Number 8 takes us to something more recent, and this guy. That's right, it is the knockoff version of Siege Ultra Magnus. Now it's interesting, some people that voted for it said the oversized knockoff. Some people said the knockoff that like has clean paint, he doesn't have the gook all over him. And some people said the knockoff that had like basically comes with the add-on kit on him to make him larger, which pretty much puts him about the size of Combiner Wars Devastator if you know the size, or Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus if you know the size of him. So it kind of makes him like a traditional leader class height. He already had the mass. Either way, it's all BPF. However you want to kind of understand it and interpret it, it is kind of taking the Siege Ultra Magnus and making the Siege Ultra Magnus better than he was by making him a little bit bigger, giving him a couple of bells and whistles. I get it. You know, for me, my Ultra Magnus of choice is the Combiner Wars one with some upgrades. But for anybody who likes the Siege one enough, this might indeed be the way to go, and enough fans felt like the BPF version was good enough that he was able to take the number 8 slot. Number 7, in a roundabout way, is this guy. Now, to be fair, number 7 is actually the KBB Combiner Wars limbs. Like, people voted for some of the individual ones, and I sort of lumped them together. But the Combiner Wars limbs voting that came in for KBB, and I'm not going to lie, my Death Cobra is one of the KBB lads, and my entire custom Nexus Prime is the red kind of Defensor lads. Those guys, okay, all had votes, but the one Limbot that had the most votes and is considered to be apparently the best of the KBB Limbots is Groove. That's why I use Groove in the image there. A lot of people say that he's even better than the official, that he feels more robust, that the plastic feels thicker, that the joints feel tighter, and that as a leg, he's a more successful leg. I don't know, I've never held that, I've never held the Groove. Now I do have a bike version of it, and it is pretty darn solid. I use the bike version on my custom Nexus Prime. I mean, it is what it is. And honestly, I gotta say, the plastic does feel good. It feels robust. It feels great. I'm pretty darn happy with it, and enough fans are happy with that to kind of round out and fill out their Combiner Wars combiners that he was able to take the number 7 slot. Number 6 takes us to one of my absolute favorite combiners, and this KO. Yes, indeed, it is the Jinbao knockoff, oversized knockoff, if I'm not mistaken, of Warbatron. And I reviewed that here on the channel thanks to our buddy Maximal10. Quite solid, a great combiner. The individual bots are quite excellent. I would say the one that suffers the most from being a knockoff, the one that is probably the least successful in my estimation, was Brawl. He had, in robot mode, some articulation limits, some loose joints. But I mean, what do you expect from a KO, right? When you put them together as Bruticus, the stature is undeniable, man. Each of the other bots are quite good. I would say the best was probably Swindle. I really enjoyed Swindle. But you know what? Rousing success. Warbatron was great. What Jinbao was able to pull off was not quite as good, but it was really, really up there, and for a fraction of the price. I mean, it's hard to argue with the success of a KO when it feels robust, when it works well, and when it is cost effective. For that reason, and enough fans felt the same way, that this guy was able to take the number 6 slot. And here we are once again at the most coveted of locations, the halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, we go to NBK with this guy. Yep, it is their version of Devastator, and I reviewed this guy, thanks to Maximal10 again, here on the channel a long time ago. Missed the fact that the combined mode Devastator head has a button on the back of the head that allows like his eyes and stuff to light up. I think that they are tremendous Constructicon vehicles. The transformations to robot mode are super involved but really interesting, and they make really successful robot mode Constructicons. As the combined mode, they are certainly functional. I mean, maybe some of the joints could be a little tighter, but generally speaking, once he's all together and you have him there and you look at him and you pose him, it's a pretty darn impressive Devastator. I think it's mostly successful as individual Constructicons, but I know a lot of fans also enjoy him on display as their Devastator, and I totally understand why. He feels good, he looks good, he has deep, robust colors. What's not to like? Enough fans enjoy their NBK Devastator that he was able to take the number 5 slot. And here at number 4, we go back to Jinbao once again, and this guy. Yeah, we're sticking with Devastator here. Again, this is a knockoff of the Generation Toy Devastator, just like the NBK one is, except this one is oversized, it's bigger, it has more moving parts, it has better paint. I would say that the look of the windows is better than the kind of orangey nature of the NBK. The NBK is great. The Jinbao is even better. Probably better than the original. It is more expensive than the NBK. But if I had to choose one or the other, it really depends on your taste. It really depends on the kind of scaling that you're going for. If you want a bigger scaling for your bots, then probably go Jinbao. If you want a smaller scaling, probably go NBK. Either one make great Constructicons, but when it comes to being a Devastator, it's hard to beat the Jinbao one, and enough fans felt the same way that he took the number 4 slot. Number 3 takes us back to Jinbao, KBB, with another undersized offering, and a really popular one with this guy. No, it's not quite MP10, it's MP10V. It's taking MP10 and basically downsizing him to the size of a Voyager class mainline transformer, and a lot of people jumped on this. In fact, there was even a trailer done to go along with it. Very, very impressive offering if you like the MP10 mold. A lot of people bought it and said, this is it, this is the only Optimus I need, this is my quintessential Optimus Prime, he's perfect. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the MP10 mold myself. I find the arm transformation a little finicky personally, and I don't like that the arm outward lateral movement here only goes out about that far before the shoulder kind of knocks in here. That's assuming you pull out the joint. He doesn't have the articulation I personally want, but he does have the look that I and pretty much everybody else would like to have for an Optimus Prime. And he was a reasonable price. It was a great downsized facsimile of a masterpiece offering that fits in with the main line that tempted so many people and that so many people got, and to this day still say, right through the war for Cybertron, right through Legacy now, still say, no, I don't need anything else. I have my perfect Optimus. Hard to argue with the success of a KO when so many people tout it as a perfect mainline Optimus. For that reason, KBB MP10V has to take the spot that is number 3. Went to the top 2, and number 2 kind of sticks sort of with the MP10 vibe in this guy. That's right, this time we go from undersized to oversized with the Jiang MPP10 Optimus Prime. As a matter of fact, I reviewed this on the channel, and it's funny, just recently, for those who don't know, my day job is teacher, and we were doing some presentations in class, and one of my students who doesn't know about this, because I don't talk about GotBot in my day life, right? Like GotBot is one persona, right? Mr. Molten is another persona. Dennis is another with my family and friends, right? Three different me's, if you will. Different hats, you know, different hats that you got put on. And one of my students happened to come in to do his presentation, and it's kind of set up sort of like a loose show and tell type of thing. And what did he pull out to discuss? But I thought at first MP10 Optimus Prime, because he felt smaller than MPP10. Maybe it was just because I was in the classroom and it's been a long time. But a couple of people pointed out to me after, shout out to Nick, shout out to Ben from Ben's Collectibles, that it was in fact the MPP10. I hadn't noticed, naturally it didn't have the Autobot symbol on the shoulder. Still felt smaller. I don't know if there was ever a KO of that KO, maybe. I reviewed it again. Great, robust, feels great. It works as good or better than the original. I love Jiang's products and what they've done. I can't argue with the success of MPP10. I can't argue with the success of the MP10 mold. It's never been something that I've been personally drawn to, but I know so many fans have, and I know that the MPP10 version, for a lot of people, feels and looks even better than the original, and that's why they went for it. Hard to argue with the success of a mold, and for that reason, MPP10 from Jiang takes the number 2 slot. And finally, that brings us to number 1, the most successful KO that fans voted on. The one that they said, of all the KOs, this is the best one. Probably pretty difficult to get nowadays as well. And it sticks with Jiang. Funny enough, I have one Jiang product, and it's Ultima Guard, which was an original design and not a knockoff of anything. That's not the topic of this. We're sticking with Jiang, which does make tremendous products, and number 1 was this. That's right, it is Sky Soarer, better known to us as the power of the Prime's Titan class Predaking. This one with the, I believe it was DNA Design add-on kit already built in. So it took everything that was from the original Power of the Prime's Titan class lad and improved on it and made it better. I always thought that was too big. I wish that someone would take that Titan class Predaking and downsize it to the size of the rest of the Combiner Wars lads. I'd be in for that. Personally speaking, I'd be in for that. I know it's not for everyone. Hard to argue with this. I mean, just look at it. It quintessentially looks like Predaking. The head sculpt is great. In this case, the wings can splay out. They look phenomenal. Even the over-the-shoulder cannons, I mean, they're big, they're hefty, they're bulky because the upgrade kit is there. The big sword, the whole shebang is there from Jiang. If you're gonna get a Titan Predaking, you might as well get the best Titan Predaking. He was easily able to take the number 1 slot. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone from 10 down to 1 once again, and honestly speaking, there were so many votes here this time around. Some of them counted, some of them didn't. Like, for example, the Black Mamba Dinobots got some votes. Black Mamba's last night Megatron got some votes. What else got some votes? The Clone Droid 6-shot, which is a KO of Terminus Hexatron, I think was his name. What else do we have here? Oversized oversized Transformers Prime Wheeljack, the Wei Jiang Voyager-sized Headmasters from knocked off from the Titans Return lads. Oversized Siege Red Alert. By the way, for some of the stuff that I've mentioned today, I'll put some links down in the description somewhere. I don't usually, but I will for some of these because I know some people like looking for them. What else do we have here? Knockoff Laserbeak, the Black Mamba Scorn, the Black Mamba Grimlock from Age of Extinction, Toy House Factory Megatron, Nero Rex, the knockoff of Feral Rex and Feral Rex version 2, which I think both were done by Jinbao, if I'm not mistaken, and they were oversized. Someone voted for the Galactic Man that was sold from Radio Shack. I don't know if that was, like, I think the mold was legitimately licensed. I don't think it's so much a KO as just another licensed use of it. A knockoff of Knockout. I don't remember seeing a knockoff of Knockout, but I got a vote. A KO of MP Star Saber, a downsized original Star Saber. What else do we have here? A lot of G1 stuff, as we well know. G1 Sunstreaker, for example. Oversized Terracons, Combiner Wars Terracons. And just to throw one more in there, what about Masterpiece Ratchet and Masterpiece 21 Bumblebee? So it was that and so much more from G1, from Masterpiece, from the mainline, from all these different eras. In some cases, you know, it's pretty egregious and kind of put out around the same time as the original. In other cases, it's been put out some years later, and it gives fans an opportunity to kind of get at least versions of certain characters that they just can't find anymore. You know, I mean, it's what allowed me to make my custom Nexus Prime, I'm just saying. Anyway, let me know which KOs are your favorite. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member while you're at it. Stick around, have some fun with us, hit the subscribe button. Especially remember that somehow, someway, each and every single day, you right there, whether you're standing up, sitting down, walking, almost having a nap, whatever it is, you do make a difference in the world. And I appreciate and I look forward, wow, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here, baby, inside the videos.